Hey, welcome back to Reddit Cheating Wife, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to the channel for cheating stories like this. I, 34 male, found text that shows my wife, 33 female, cheated on me. Melissa and I have been married for 8 years. We share a home, 2 vehicles, and a dog. There are no children. Everything seemed to be okay. That was until about 2 weeks ago. My wife gets a text message as I settled down to go to bed 2 weeks ago. I walk over to see what it says since she went to the neighbor's home to fetch something. It's from Andrew, and he texted her, "When are you coming over?" I'm skeptical since my wife never mentioned going out tonight. So I inquire, and she responds that she is going out for drinks with some pals. I make no mention of the passages. I had forgotten about it until last night. She receives another text from Andrew, and I begin to go through their dialogue this time. That night, he asked her when she was going to come over. They definitely that night. And, based on the messages, they many times. Right now, I'm feeling like our marriage appeared to be going well until this happened. Ironically, she sought an infidelity clause in our prenup since she had previously been cheated on. I've started looking for a lawyer. I'm not going to approach her with any of this until the lawyer has laid everything out. I may not even confront her about it. Simply strike her with the papers and then bounce. But this is destroying me on the inside. I haven't told a soul about it. I'd want to, but people aren't good at keeping secrets. Update, I met with a lawyer, and I like him a lot. He's pricey, but he's got a ton of expertise. I'm going to forego the other 2 meetings and simply employ him. In terms of hiring a pie, he said he typically doesn't encourage it due to the expense, but given that I have a prenup in place and she loses the property if evidence of adultery is shown, plus the fact that I can afford one fairly easily, he believes I should. I'm going home now to start looking for one. Update no. 2. I got home exhausted as heck. So, nothing much occurred last night. I came home, ate, and then went to bed. I appeared to be interested as she told me about her day at work. She didn't attempt to initiate, which was a positive sign. This weekend, I'll be going fishing with one of my pals. I need to take my mind off of things for a while. I'm still seeking for an excellent private investigator. Story 2. My boyfriend of 10 years cheated on me and I don't know what to do. My partner, 23 male, and I had been dating for 10 years. We grew up in the same neighborhood with the same pals. For the most part, it was a really loving and supporting relationship. But there were problems with his lying. He'd never cheated before, but he lied a lot. He always claimed that it was because he was afraid to reveal the truth. I had an issue with one of the girls in his college group. I've always suspected she was interested, and I've advised him to keep his distance from her. Cut to the conclusion of college, and he starts a new job. They are unable to communicate. She phoned him in June 2021 to tell him she had joined the same firm but in a new division. I informed him that I had decided to put my confidence in him. That's all there was to it. He has been acting strangely distant for the last 2 months. I am a very open and communicative individual. He continued telling me that he believes he would never be able to satisfy me. He used to remark that he would never be able to equal my degree of affection. I informed him that my love is my decision, and that all I want is what he is capable of giving me. I assured him we could figure it out together. I informed him that there were certain simple things he could do to show me love, such as slow dancing, writing letters, and so on. He continued saying that he knew what to do but lacks the motivation to accomplish it. I suppose I should have realized then. Cut to New Year's Eve, and we're having a party with our pals. He falls asleep since he is inebriated, and my intuition keeps prompting me to check his phone. And instead of reading his messages, I open his payment app. I observe a lot of trades going on between them. I jolted him awake and begged him to explain. He said that these are the wages he receives for his labor. I told him he could have notified me of this, particularly because I had urged him numerous times to notify me if they ever had contact with one other. He then blamed me for spying and said that he conceals things because he is worried I would react the same way I was at the time. I still had the feeling that something was awry. I opened his email app and found many hotel room reservations as well as payment receipts. I roused him again and questioned him. He said that she would request that he reserve accommodations for her and her companion. He used to pay, and she used to return it. I still trusted him. The final booking, on the other hand, seemed really strange. So I examined his Google Maps history and discovered that he was at that hotel from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. on December 27, 2021. He informed me that he was working that day. And he texted me all day, stuff like "I love you, I miss you," etc. That had to be a mistake, he reasoned. I phoned his coworker and established that he was indeed missing from work that day. He stated they met in a hotel room after 3 hours of begging, sobbing, and unfortunately smacking him. "I'm very sorry. They merely spoke and nothing occurred. And he has feelings for her." I asked him whether he was in love with me. He said that he does and that he wants to be with him. I called the lady right away to check everything. He lied to her about many things, including the fact that we are nearly divorced and that we are not physically involved. We had some 3 hours before all this happened. She questioned why you didn't call it quits. He glanced at me and said, "I've told you many times that I don't want to be with you." I told him you always stated you didn't want me to be harmed, and that's why he feels we should end our relationship. He never said that he didn't just want to be with him. I verified that they had never met previously. And then there was nothing. This was a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. I requested that he leave. In a moment of rage and despair, I posted on Instagram that we were no longer together and that the reason was because he cheated on me. That was a mistake on my part. He now has no friends and many individuals who despise him. I'm truly sorry for what I did to him. I shouldn't have uploaded it, but when he informed me he'd been seeing her for the previous 7 months, I couldn't stop myself. I don't want everyone to despise him. I know he no longer desires me. I will always adore and cherish him. But I'm not going back either. I've known him for almost half my life. Throughout infancy, adolescence, and adulthood. My interests, music, television programs, and favorite foods all have something to do with him. I'm not sure how I'll manage without him. The year 2022 began with the death of the most significant person in my life. I'm at a loss on what to do. I am financially secure, have a fantastic career, and have incredible great friends. But he was everything to me. Story 3. Fiancé of 11 years cheated. My 11-year fiancé cheated on me with her best friend and her best friend's boyfriend when she was visiting her out of state for the weekend. We'd been battling before since we had a home fire and spent time in her mother's basement during the reconstruction, which took nearly 3 years and a tremendous amount of stress. We couldn't be very intimate since we shared a 500 square foot apartment with our 2 children. The tension affected both of us, and I was not the greatest spouse. We began to resent each other. I gave up on the home because she hired her brother to finish it, which resulted in his stealing money and lying about the house's development. I was basically bashing her family whenever I complained or tried to get involved. This led to me drinking excessively and giving up all hope of ever returning to a normal life. She wanted to split up, and that's when I understood how much I stood to lose. I messed up and decided to repair the darn home myself. We eventually moved in after 5 months of 14-hour days and dealing with the code inspector and felt like we were back on track. She did seem reluctant to re-establish our connection. We'd speak about having another child one day, and then I'd get cold shoulders for no apparent reason the next. We both promised to work things out after discussing separation 5 months ago. She traveled to Florida a week later, and that happened. I just found out about it, and I'm a nervous mess. Everything in our lives has been constructed jointly, from shared bank accounts to children. When she informed me, she stated it as if it were the heaviest weight she had ever lifted. We haven't spoken much since then. I intend to go, but that will leave me at my mother's since all I own has been invested in this home, which is in her name. I'm terrified about leaving my children and my life behind. My 2 children, who were 2 and 4 years old at the time of the fire, were robbed of having bedrooms or a space to play and now have bedrooms and a family room. I'm not trying to make excuses for her, but we were both mentally ill at the time. Along with her father's death, we had lost our family dog. Oh, and the pandemic for which I was laid off. I can't even begin to describe how stressed and terrified I was. We couldn't allow any romance to happen in those situations. Do I attempt to mend this relationship? Has anybody ever recovered from anything like this? I'm not the kind to discuss your emotions or seek guidance. This is a lonely agony. I'm reaching out here so that I may remain anonymous.